Greetings, everyone. I would just like to make a short response video to Pharaoh Said That. Pharaoh Said That is a YouTube channel with a brother, an African American brother, who is very vocal about issues related to Pan Africanism and black community relations, um, the US government, so on and so forth. But he made a video recently saying that black Americans need a military to return to Africa, right? And he said this based on his perception of turmoil and instability that exists in various quarters on the continent, right? Now, we are all aware of various conflicts which may arise from time to time on the continent, right? And there's a tendency to gloss over the root cause of these conflicts which may arise, right? And I would submit to Brother Pharaoh Said That. I would submit to the elder that if we want to stop the conflicts that take place on the continent, we need to stop the activities and actions of the US government, European Union nations, Asian nations, so on and so forth. As we can see, there's been a wrangling and a quest for power on the continent between these the so-called first world nations. Many times in political seasons, they would fund opposition parties and rebel parties so that there can be chaos erupting on the streets of Africa. Many times they would incite ethnic and nationalistic conflicts. They would incite them in order to create the instability, in order for them to come again now and claim a portion of the natural resources, claim a portion of the land, arable farmland, that they can use to bolster their economy and bolster their food supplies. Okay, so before we blame our brothers and sisters for any instability, let's also lay the blame at the feet of the perpetrator. You know, we've been the victim for many years, and I think it's unfair for us to characterize our people as being unable to manage their own affairs in a peaceful way. All right, we are one and the same. You know, I'm an African abroad, and they are Africans at home. And so we should never really get it confused. I mean, if there's conflict and we feel like the military is inadequate in some areas to be able to fend off the colonizers and the attempts that they make, then I think we should add skills. We should add funding. We should add manpower. We should add even ideas, have symposiums and conferences with our brothers. There should be an establishment of a collective code of conduct. There should be an establishment of a collective vision for the continent, for its people. There should be an establishment of a clear vision for what role those who are abroad can play when they return. And if there is xenophobia, Brother Pharaoh, I don't think that xenophobia can be addressed by creating more xenophobia. Because what you actually did on your program, you know, and with all due respect, because I believe this is a respectable brother, but with all due respect, you made a comment which was a xenophobic comment concerning Caribbean nationals and African nationals, because you basically called them slow, right? You said that the Caribbean nationals are slow. These are your words. And you said that the African nationals are slow. And basically what you are saying is the African American is the pinnacle of civilization. You know, it is the pinnacle of the black community's talent, the black community's abilities, and the black community's philosophical position that you had by making a comment like that, because those who were following you up to that point, they would turn off their cognition to the continent. A military would give this perception that there is some division and that we are afraid of living amongst Africans